Hello and welcome to a quick tutorial on the Counting Us app that we use to gather data for the point-in-time count. Before you can log into the Counting Us app that we use to gather PIT data, you must first register. The registration portal URL is txbos.pointintime.info. This registration is required for all volunteers. If this is your first time registering, you need to follow the instructions on setting your password and registering. Click on the green Register button on the bottom and fill out the information accordingly. If you are a returning volunteer, you can go ahead and click on the blue Update Registration button and follow the prompts to update your old password. I recommend using your browser or phone's ability to remember your password just in case. I cannot reset the password for you. I can only tell you which email you registered under. Before we get into the demo, there are a few things that you need to know about the app. The browser version URL is counting.us. You can also download the app by searching Counting Us on the App Store for your phone, and the app is free to download, so you don't need to pay anything. You will need to go through the registration process before using the mobile app. If you haven't already set your password, you can do so on the mobile app by selecting Forgot Password at the bottom and following the instructions accordingly. You will need internet or data to download the app and submit surveys. However, you can also conduct surveys and save them as a draft without an internet connection. This means that if you are in an area that does not have an internet connection, you can still conduct surveys and submit them later. Once you have registered, you can now log into the Counting Us app. I recommend that you conduct practice surveys in order to become familiar with the app. You can do so up to the night before the count. So once you are logged into Counting Us, make sure that you register under the 2023 PIT count. The top of the page should reflect the 2023 PIT count. From the starting page, you can also select Change Count, and then Join New Count, and then type in the setup key TX2023, and go ahead and click Join Count. Make sure that you also select the region that you will be counting for. So once you have completed this, you should be good to go for conducting surveys. So we can go ahead and click on Get Started. So from the starting page, you will see that we have 4 surveys that we can conduct. There should be a yellow bar on top of the screen that says this count is in test mode, which indicates that you can submit practice surveys. So let's start by checking out the known location survey. This survey is only available prior to the night of the count to help with planning. The intention of the known location map is to give PIT leads an idea of where individuals are observed to be experiencing unsheltered homelessness throughout your geography leading up to the count. This will be used to determine the number of volunteers needed for the count, as well as what locations need to be covered. There are only 2 parts to the known location survey. You will need to ensure that you are tagging the surveys in the correct spot by dropping the pin on the location of the unhoused individuals and estimating the number of individuals residing in that location. So let's say that we find some unhoused individuals on this intersection right here. We would click Next Step, and then we would estimate the number of people experiencing homelessness in this location, let's say 7 for our purposes, and then just click the green Submit Survey button. All right, let's take a look at the sheltered survey. So this survey is offered both in English and Spanish. For our purposes, we'll choose English. And before you get started with submitting any type of survey, you have to make a determination if you are conducting an individual or household survey. A household survey is for 2 or more people who are connected to each other and living in the same location. Examples of this include parents and children, romantic partners, siblings, or extended familial connections. A household is not unrelated people all residing within the same housing project or encampment. Households must self-identify. You cannot have a household of 1 person. In that case, you would choose an individual survey. Only fill out surveys on individuals and household members that have not already been surveyed. You will ask the potential respondent if they have already been surveyed on the night of the count. Surveys where the persons say yes to this question will be automatically archived. Please only select this if you are certain that this person has not already been surveyed. So for our purposes, we're going to choose a household survey. And let's say that there are 2 individuals within this household. Next, we will select the project we are surveying for. Select the project type, then select the organization, and then the project name. This will filter the list based on the project type. If you believe an organization is missing from this list, please contact me. Please do this well in advance of the count. Do not select a different shelter if that is incorrect. If you are confused about an organization name, do not guess. Call and ask. So we'll go ahead and choose an emergency shelter. And for our organization, for this example, we'll choose Denton County Friends of the Family. And then we'll select the project. Make sure that we have all 3 of these filled out. And you'll click on Next Step. Once we have our project selected, fill out the survey in order. Always fill out the age range before proceeding into the next sections of the survey, as different ages will have different questions asked. An example of this is that children under the age of 12 only require demographic information, while folks over the age of 18 are asked a more lengthy list of questions. For the purposes of this demo, I will not go through the whole survey, but we ask that all PIT leads and volunteers ask every question on the survey. The question with the red border and asterisk is the required question. You cannot submit a survey without filling out the required question. I do want to quickly highlight that you will see a different format for the questions. For drop-down questions, you are only allowed 1 answer. For selecting all that apply, you can select multiple responses. And remember, we need to fill out the required question, which is what age range do you fall under? All right, for the purposes of this demo, we are going to save this as a draft and come back to it later. Now let's take a look at the unsheltered survey. This survey is only for those who are residing in an unsheltered location, such as a street, car, outdoor encampment, or other place not meant for human habitation. If someone says that they are staying in a shelter later that evening, still fill out the survey with them based on where you encounter them, and then ask that they provide you with the name of the shelter that they will be staying at, and type that organization name in the notes section at the end. Like the sheltered survey, the unsheltered survey is offered in both English and Spanish. Similar to the sheltered survey, determine if it is a household or an individual survey. Remember, you cannot have a household of 1. For our purposes, we're going to go ahead and choose an individual survey. So remember to only fill out surveys on individuals that have not already been surveyed. Go ahead and fill out the survey in order, and always remember to fill out the age before progressing into the next section of the survey. The question with the red border and asterisk is a required question. You cannot submit a survey without filling out the required question. So once we have completed the survey, we'll go ahead and click on the green Submit Survey button. Lastly, let's check out the observation survey. Observation surveys can be completed in both sheltered and unsheltered locations. These are if you approach someone whom you believe is homeless but does not consent to the survey, or if you're in a situation where it is unsafe to conduct a survey. The observation survey does not gather any demographic information. Only conduct observation surveys on people you can physically see. At a minimum, you will need to be able to estimate their general age and provide as much detail as possible in the notes section so we can ensure that the same people are not counted twice. So once you've completed the survey and answered all the questions with the asterisk that are required, you can go ahead and press the green Submit Survey button. Let's quickly talk about saved drafts. You will need to submit each saved draft individually. You have drafts saved if you see a white number in a red circle on the bottom of your screen. All drafts need to be submitted by midnight on January 26th. Any drafts not submitted will not be counted on the reports. Drafts should only be used when you have no connection to submit the survey. Submitting them in the moment will ultimately save you time. This means that you will have less to remember at the end of your shifts. You will need to have all the required sections filled out before you can successfully submit the surveys. So we'll click on one of the saved drafts, click on the Open button at the bottom left corner, review our selections, and once we've reviewed our selections, we can click on the green Submit Survey button.